Hi, MJ.
Hi, Sam.
Brilliant. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm very excited about this because of who you are and what you do. You know. But I think, first of all, we'll clear up the elephant in the room that we are connected by a very close mutual friend.
Correct.
Whose name is... Just kidding, mate. He really didn't want me to say it, and I won't say it. So you're off the hook.
We'll keep that one secret.
We'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
But welcome to Tasty Humans.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. I think, the best place to start is who you are and where do you work right now?
All right. So MJ, short for Michele Jenman. Just putting it out there. Who I am? I'm Brazilian by nature. Born and bred in Brazil, in a small little island in south of Brazil called Florianopolis, also known as the Brazilian Ibiza. It's a bit of a party place, very beautiful. And where I work right now is I'm working at the Royal Atlantis in the Palm. Yeah, that's what we do. Yep, that's what I'm doing right now.
And what is it you're doing there? F&B...
Food and Beverage Manager.
Food and Beverage Manager.
Yeah.
And you have, which outlets are under your...
So we have 17 food and beverage outlets. Not all of them are restaurants. Some of them are exclusive for in-house guests. Others are just like more food, like cakes and whatnot. So I have right now Estiatorio Milos, which is the Greek cuisine. Very popular, very fresh, very buzzy. I have Ling Ling, which is even more buzzy, more nightlife oriented. I'm overlooking Cloud 22, which is our jewel in the crown, which is the pool, infinity, beautiful. And Jaleo, which is our Spanish restaurant by Jose Andres.
Amazing.
But we do overlook all of them. So there's a few food and beverage managers in the property, and we help each other. So if one of them is out on holiday, then we tap into everyone's business, basically. So it's fun. It's fun. It keeps us in our toes.
I mean, what an amazing building.
It is. It truly is. And it was an amazing opening, right? I think we managed to send shockwaves worldwide with the opening, which is exactly what we were aiming for. Super stressful, but very cool. Very cool.
Let me ask you a good question is, I've done a lot of openings, you've done a lot of openings.
Yes.
I definitely subscribe more to the independent, casual side of things, not really the upscale. Are all openings the same?
Oh, no.
Where it doesn't matter who's backing you, what type of company it is it all last minute, nothing's really working, everyone thinks everything's working, but it's not, and we're just opening and let's just go hellfire into it.
Exactly. No matter how many critical paths you put together, no matter how many meetings you put together, big board meetings with all the heads, it's just always something that you did not think about, and you go, oh, no. And then you have to think really fast, right? In the hospitality industry, you just have to think in your feet, and you have to go boom, 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 and make it happen. That's what we do, make magic.
And who?
Right, of course.
We try to. Definitely.
We try to.
I mean, definitely Royal Atlantis. Who was performing on that night? I was going to say I can't remember if it was J-Lo or Beyonce.
It was supposed to be J-Lo to begin with, but we had a couple of delays. So then we had Beyonce, which turned out to be fantastic. We were crazy excited. I remember still when it has been announced that it was going to be Beyonce, but we were not supposed to tell anyone. I mean, it was a bit difficult because everyone was super excited. It was in a conference room with a lot of staff members, like 1,000 people. And then they just put in a video clip of Beyonce, and everyone went nuts about it. And it was great because there was a lot of secrecy. There was a lot of don't tell anyone. There was a lot of do not film it. We cannot tell people. And when we released, that she was going to be coming to the opening, it was amazing. My phone was nonstop. Can I get entry? Can I get tickets? Can I come in? Can I put in guest list? I'm like, no, invites only. And that was very cool. It was by far one of the coolest things I've done.
And how close were you to it? Like, did you meet her?
I saw her walking by a few times.
Yeah.
No, she
that was enough.
That's it, yeah. But I do tell people that I was with her the whole time.
Ah, of course, perfect.
My girl.
Because you were. Of
course. No, it was, she has her own team, of course. There was one food and beverage manager assigned to look after her, which was not me, because I was still running around with SOPs and building and where's the POS for this one. So not so close, but we got to hear her training a lot, which was awesome. Because she just wasn't singing only the stuff that she performed for us, but she was singing some good old tunes from the back. So that was very cool.
Amazing. Well, I think one of the places I really want to go with this is you are, let's say, sitting, in my opinion, sitting at the top table, as far as the Royal Atlantis is, the first Atlantis was the top table, and then you saw this building coming up, to the right-hand side of it on the palm, if you're looking at the palm, right, left, whatever. But the thing is that that building just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think a really good idea to explore is, I know you from the Jewel Bar Piccadilly.
Oh, good old Jewel.
Which, for those of you who don't know, was run by our mutual friend. But I'm so close to saying his name. But the thing is Jewel Bar Piccadilly, which opened in 2002.
Yes.
Because I was actually one of the bartenders there at the time when it opened.
Were you?
I was, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was one of the opening bartenders. And funnily enough, this is funny enough, I do use this as the difference between Dubai and London when it comes to openings. You'll open a venue in Dubai and suddenly, instantly, everyone wants to go there and be there. And
Correct.
They flock over there as quickly as possible, whether it's good or not.
Yes.
And they flock over there and in they all are, look where I am, look what I'm doing, look what I'm doing. Meanwhile, the place that they used to go to is now dying and has to change its business model. And then when they realize this might not be great, they go back and complain about the differences.
Correct.
I kind of have that as a thing in Dubai, which maybe works against our industry. Having said that, you go to London, and Jewel is the prime example, where you open a place in London, no one goes. No one goes for about the first 4 or 5 months. Not enough customers to actually
make it
balance
happen.
the books. And then if it starts to become a place, especially in the West End, that people think is good, suddenly it catches on and becomes a staple. And Jewel, I think, is a prime example, because we used to joke in there that it wouldn't last more than 2 weeks.
Really?
When it opened, because it was dead.
Oh, wow.
And then after, I think, 6 months, because I only did the opening and I left, it caught on, and 6, 7 years, it was probably the number one venue to go in the West End as a bar.
Correct. So I joined there in 2003.
Yes, you're that old. Yeah.
I know.
It's
that makes me 21,
long.
Clearly.
Well, it's been 21 years.
No, a couple of times. So I joined there in 2003, and it was super busy.
Yeah.
And that was only my second bartending job. The first one being in Portugal. So I left Brazil, I went to Portugal for 6 months, because that was the only country in Europe that would allow me entry, right? Brazilians don't get a visa anywhere. So that bartending job was probably the first one that was professional, because I was in the bar station with someone like Jack. Remember Tall Jack, South African? And Sanchez, just still actually in Dubai.
Sanchez,
Sanchez actually taught me a lot. Thanks, Sanchez. Thanks, mate. They would just throw me in the deep, and the bar was so busy. It was such a long bar. 3 layers deep of people and just shouting, and it was a lot of cocktails, right? There was not vodka Red Bulls. It was cocktails.
Well,
cocktails,
it's a proper
cocktails.
cocktail bar.
It was, yeah. I still remember the Ruby. That was the most popular. I probably know the whole recipe still of the Ruby. Can make a mean Ruby still.
Tell us. No, no, you're on the spot.
I can. 37.7 absolute currant, 12.5 creme de framboise, cranberry juice, little dash of lime juice, and the rose petal in a martini glass.
See, you want to know what it takes to get to the top? That's it. To
there
still
you go.
remember cocktails.
Still have one little muscle of
from
my shaking
21
leg.
years ago.
Yeah, which is great. But in London, it was always very, very busy. And here in Dubai, exactly what you said. As soon as somebody opened the doors, there's a lot of press release, there's a lot of buzz and influencers and who's who to be there. And I feel like you only have 6 months to make it happen for people to come and try you. And if they like you, you may be lucky enough for them to come back. But they're not really loyal, because there's another opening next to you, and then they're at the end of town, and so forth. So you really have 6 months to make it happen. That's my personal, humble opinion.
How long has the Royal Atlantis been open?
A year. We opened in February last year, 23. So
you made it past 6 months then.
And we will. And that place will always.
I think so too.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a so many cool concepts in there. They really managed to get some great leaders in their field, in terms of the chefs that went in there. And the venues that we created, our own concepts, they're so cool. And it just appeals to everyone.
Well, that's one of the hardest things to do, is I think in Dubai as well, is to create internal concepts that can sit alongside the independent ones.
Yep.
You normally see in a lot of hotels that the outsourced independent ones are the ones that are popular, and then the hotels themselves have, let's say, had a go.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they tried.
And then you can see the difference. But so what do you think happened with your concepts, or the ones that were internally created? Like, what went into making sure that they did sit alongside? So I think, first of all, name a few of the ones that are the externals, the independents.
Well, the externals we have, so as I mentioned, Milos, we have La Mar, which is the Peruvian restaurant by Gaston Acurio. We have Ariana's Persian Kitchen by Chef Ariana Bandi. We have Dinner by Heston Blumenthal, it's fantastic. We have Nobu, the darling, obviously, is always going to be. I mentioned Haleo, which is quite a lot. We have the cake shop, Little Venice Cake Shop. I think what happened in there is there was such a great pool of talent, and that is the professionals that have been picked to go and open, that not one venue shined more than the other. Everybody went, because we used to sit on tables like this and then literally just, talk about what we're facing, and then, I pick your brain, you give me some insights of what you think, and then we just collectively made everything happen. So we do have the shining stars, which is the celebrity dining venues, but the others don't stay behind, because they are equally important, and they're very, very nice. Not every day you want to dress up and put your high heels or have your nice shirts to go on. You want something slightly more informal at times, right? Especially if you're in a resort, you just want to lay your hair down.
Yeah, definitely.
So the others are equally important. And we have one called gastronomy, which is where we serve the breakfast. It's a food hall, in essence. And it's incredible. And even for me, that I don't consider myself to be a hotelier, I always think myself as a standalone person that works inside a hotel. And I mean this with the utmost respect to hoteliers, because I think they do amazing. But for me, it was like, what is this? And it's packed. Every single day is so busy. And the feedback that we get it's amazing. You have to go.
100%. But what do you think then? How are you looking at these celebrity-driven outlets and trying to? I always think that the difference between the hotels and the independents is they don't fall equally under the banner of hospitality. A hotel is a very, very different place to an independent restaurant. Hotels, I think, are pushing a big standard across a wide platform where they want their guests to come back every year. So therefore, nothing can change too dramatically, where in independent F&B, you want them to come back every week, and therefore things are always changing, But when you try to make sure that you're sit alongside theirs, what do you think the most important things to focus on?
I don't really see the venues there as being, realistically speaking, there we have so many guests, so you see them every day, and we have so many externals that the celebrity-driven venues and the in-house concepts, they are pretty much similar. Apart from maybe the breakfast place that people do come across town for that, but we really see 50-50 in there. So I don't think we treat them anything differently. And it's quite impressive for me as well, because me coming from my background being standalone and high volume, I thought it was going to be exactly what you just mentioned. The hotel guests, sure, we treat them amazingly well, but for me the most important would be the externals, but it's not. It end up not being. So it really is. They come back quite often. And we see a lot of regulars as well, even for the hotel. So you don't see them once a year. You see them really quite often, 2, 3 times, 4, 5 times.
And how are they as guests?
They're demanding, as they should be, It's incredible to see how many countries we had and how many nationalities we've hosted. In essence, they're guests, right? So, how people often say, treat people how you like to be treated. I don't have that mentality at all. I think you have to treat people the way they like to be treated. Because if I'm going to treat people the way I like to be treated, I'm just going to place my order and be quiet, leave me alone. So the guests, they tell you how they want it to be treated, right? So,
do they have crazy demands?
Some do, yeah.
Like what?
Oh, well,
you don't have to name names,
no,
obviously,
I don't, no,
but I think this type of because people that live in this world, and I don't mean, and I'll be a little bit controversial. I don't mean the ones that are saved up every penny they've got to go and stay there for a couple of nights, and then when they're actually there, they're super obnoxious,
yes,
super rude, because they've literally, broke the bank and taken out loans and done God knows what to actually go and stay in places like this. I'm talking about the ones that live in this world. So coming to go and stay in Royal Atlantis is nothing to them. It's what we do, Yeah. But so how are they? And I always like, it's like the lifestyle of the super wealthy, you know.
I remember very clearly seeing, there was a particular guest that he was from head to toe, it was branding, right? All the most expensive brands that you can think of right now, he was wearing it. He was super casual. And he was Amilos in the fish market, and he was just going, I want this, bring me 10 of those. And I was standing next to him, and I'm looking at him, thinking, that is what he knows. So for them it's normal. It's like me going to a coffee shop going, can I have my Americano, please? For them it's like, yeah, I want to have this. So they have their demands, but to be honest, it's not that crazy.
Okay.
It's really not. They just want to be treated the way they know, and that's it. This is what you have to give them. It is a sort of form of art, right? For us in hospitality, you just treat people as they want to be treated. So that's all they know. We give them what they want. But in terms of requests, yesterday, for example, somebody called me from the hotel and said, I need a water distiller. And I went, come again? Yeah, I've got this, I'm not going to name the guest, but this very special guest, and he wants a water distiller inside his room. I said, well, we don't have one. We serve bottled water. Everything is obviously done correctly. So no, we have to make it happen. I said, okay, no problem. How long do I have? 48 hours. No problem. I'll make it happen. So that's what I have to do after, by the way. To-do list.
Crazy.
And just some crazy things, yeah. What to do.
Awesome. No, I like it. I do. I love these sort of conversations because people that work in hospitality on any level, whether you're working in, I don't know, it's, McDonald's, not to knock McDonald's, I do love it. But, all the way up to somewhere like Royal Atlantis, the customer's the most intriguing thing, I think. They're one of my favorite things because you just don't know what they're going to say next at any point. And it kind of keeps your working world, on edge.
Very much.
But one thing, so Jewel Bar Covent Garden, Jewel Bar Piccadilly.
Yep.
Sorry.
And then Covent Garden. I was there as well.
Then Babel. I actually wrote these down in my scribbly notes, so I'm gonna reel this off. Okay, but it's Jewel Bar Piccadilly and Covent Garden, Babel Mayfair, Gaucho General Manager, Tribeca General Manager, Media One Head of Nightlife, Sobe General Manager,
yes,
Amazonico. Amazonico or Amazonica?
Amazonico.
Sorry, I always get that wrong. Forgive me. General Manager, and obviously now Atlantis, the Royal. That's quite a career, I think, has gone from independence and has made it all the way into where you are now. I'd say, what was the best one?
Ooh. It's like choosing a child, isn't it?
Yeah. What was the best one? What? That's a good place to start. What do you think was the best one? I'm not going to say what was the worst one to follow up. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't think there is a best one. There's some concepts that I had a lot more fun than others, and I think the ones that I had the most fun. It depends the level of responsibilities that I had. Obviously, the ones in London, I didn't have that much responsibility. I was a bartender, then bar manager, and we were allowed to drink. And you're supposed to drink, right? Having shots with the guests in the bar. Way too many Jägermeisters. Love it. Yeah. And then the more responsibilities you have to tone it down. But the one in Dubai that I had a lot of fun was Tribeca. It was...
Yeah, that was a cool spot.
It was so good. And I think it was the one that I actually found myself as being a manager. Finally, okay, this is my place. I am the leader. And I never used this word before, ever. But at that particular venue, I think I could use it because nothing would happen until I say so, which is quite a responsibility to have. And before I never felt that because there was big corporate companies and that one was a very family owned. So they said, this is my baby. Oh, it's going to destroy here. This is my baby. You take care of it. So, but all the venues were pretty cool. I don't think I have one favorite. Do you? Can you name one favorite that you Roadhouse. You were in the Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. I had a great time in Roadhouse.
Is that because you had a microphone in your hand at all times in there?
Yeah, there was some microphone moments going on in there. I forgot about that actually. Yeah. But this isn't about me. You know what I mean? But no, I'd have to say for me, I don't know. Bar Soho, I had a great time in there.
I had a great time in there.
When we worked for Soho Clubs and Bars, I think that was a great kind of 06 to 08.
Crazy,
beginning of 06 to the end of 08, that was when there was a real good collective crew of people that were working there. And it really was, a lot of the venues were successful.
Yes.
There was a lot of fun happening.
There was not that much financial pressure, right? The money was just
things
flowing.
Were working. And I think it was one of those, I got promoted from AGM to GM, which like you just said in Tribeca, you get that feeling of,
this is it.
This is it. I've got that. I've finally made it to this level that I've been trying to get to. And yeah, I think Bar Soho and I think the Pod, before I came to Dubai, I think the Pod, because it was kind of mine, it was the closest I've been to being an owner, which was really, really cool. But anyway, back to you.
Back to me.
So I can pick a favorite. But so would you say Tribeca's the one where you learnt the most, or which one do you think is the job that, because I think to back it up, when I went to Pasha, that's where I went from this type of manager to this type of manager.
Right.
And that was a harsh learning curve of a place. So did you have something in your career that you sort of went in, it was very difficult, and then you sort of went, but I'm learning so much here that this is getting me ready for something else?
Yes. Look, if I speak about Dubai itself, right? So in Gaucho, it was amazing because everything they did was around pleasing the guest. Right? There was a true sense of hospitality. So that was a learning for me because I was more in the cocktail world, in the bar world, and it wasn't really all about the guests. It was like, if you complain about something, just have a round of drinks on me. So it wasn't about finding the root cause of the issue. Then jumping to Tribeca, that was, all right, it was really tough because I had to learn all the finance that perhaps I wasn't really exposed to that much in the past. So that was really it. Like, sit with your finance. There was no finance manager. So I had to hire somebody. I had to hire a HR. There was none. So sitting with them every single day and go through, every dirham. That exposed me to the bigger projects. After Tribeca I came to Media One. And that was combination of finance with cool events, some of them you leading right now, like the P7 events. That was very quirky. And then Soybe, I think Amazonico was one that was certainly the turning point because we knew what was coming for us. We knew that was going to be a massive concept and to stamp the Dubai scene. There was 2 or 3 names in Dubai that I'm not going to mention. The great concepts have been up and running for many years, and we were the new kids in the block. So I knew that was coming.
But that was a home run.
That was a home run.
That was a smash hit.
Yes.
And I think one, and I really do want to touch upon Amazonico because, again, as I said earlier on, it's kind of where everyone wants to end up. Everybody wants, myself included. I think that the only time in my career in Dubai where, and no disrespect to anyone I've worked with or for, that I've been part of a venue that had a big sort of launch into the market was Canary Club. And I felt really good about that, and you like it. You put a lot of work into doing an opening, doing the build and everything like that. And then when it works and it looks good, and there's a lot of key people in the industry that go, yeah, well done. You feel really good. But like I said, Amazonico, though, was a monster.
Yes.
And I think, what was that experience like? Because as I said, there's a lot of people that I hope will watch this, that they dream of this. The outlet managers that are now and the bar managers are like, one day I'm going to be GM Azuma.
Yes.
Or I'm going to be a GM of Amazonico.
Of course.
And stuff like this. But what was it like? to be part of an explosion into the industry or the landscape? That's a better way.
I think all your years of experience come to play, right? There's not one lesson that you didn't think about it before. Everything comes together. That one was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I had 17 managers working on the team, so I certainly was not alone. 17 key leaders. But the interesting thing back then is that everybody was so talented, but they didn't work well together. Mm-hmm. So most of my time, it was spent by connecting them, making them work together to make everything else happen, So the concept is great, super fun. It really was just piecing like, you have to work well with this guy, So just sit together, shout as much as you want, and then just, kiss and make up. That's it. And then the rest was history, really. I mean, we have a strong concept. Music is great. You come for the vibes and you stay for everything else. And it was a great moment to know that our phones will never stop. Just never stop. Everybody wanted a booking. We were doing 800 covers a night, and that was intense.
Especially delivering, and this again is about standards and training, which we'll touch upon. But you're doing 800 covers a night to a very, very high standard of service. Where everyone is going there with a very high level of expectations. So the margin for error is tiny, you know.
Even though there was a lot, especially at the beginning.
but then I think also there's what the customer sees and what the customer doesn't see.
Of course, The back of house is a different story. The expectations were certainly very high because we were stealing guests from very high-end restaurants around us. Yeah. So we were upsetting a lot of the industry leaders as well.
So it's the nature of the beast.
Exactly. So touching your point, we did have, and this is a very proud moment, but key industry leaders come in, shaking my hand and shaking the hand of the other managers, of course, for the great job we were doing. And
it makes you feel good.
Of course, because we were aiming to be them. So when I was working at Gaucho, I used to look at Zuma because it was immediately across the street, right, or the door. So they were always packed, and not necessarily Gaucho was packed. It was very good, but it wasn't packed. So now to have them coming to shake my hand, it was really cool. And great love for them. They do amazing. But I think Amazonica is one of the concepts that will stay for many, many years, right? Because the team that was there and the team that is there now, they're going to continue to do great things. It's a great concept.
Well, I think you can reference this. They call it escape velocity, where you've actually pushed through and you don't need to come back in the sense of it has made it into that echelon where you could possibly say Zuma, I'd say the main in JBR, LPM,
of course.
LPM, El Borro.
Yeah.
Three Fills.
Three Fills is great.
Which I was having a conversation with somebody about Three Fills the other day. We were discussing about how you can end up one of the top restaurants in the UAE and not serve alcohol, which I think is remarkable.
Good job for them.
And obviously Amazonica and stuff like that. So it's made it into that bracket now where it's a must do,
Yeah.
What was it like? I suppose answer it, don't answer it, but I'm going to ask, which is, what were the owners like in the times where it was? Because listen, these people put in a lot of money.
Yes.
I think sometimes people don't realize what type of investment goes in to actually building a place, especially like Amazonica. The fit out is ridiculous. Yes. The building itself, the conversion, recessing the terrace, etc. And to have that much on the line and then for it to be working, it almost creates a strange pressure where it's like, wow, this is actually working. And they how intense did it become? Did it become intense? Was it supportive? Was it reactive? Was it?
It was COVID.
It was COVID. There you go. It was COVID.
So the restaurant was open, and then I took over in January. It was only open in December, so I came a month later. So I had to tidy up quite a lot of things in there, even though they've done amazing by themselves in there. But then a month after was COVID, so everything went to a standstill. So all the amazing work they've done for the opening, it no longer matters because everyone in the world is just talking about COVID, So it was reopening all of that. So the owners were actually very supportive, and nobody really knew how to start again. So they just said, okay, what do you want to do? So throughout COVID, I actually worked a lot more than anybody else, I think, that during COVID, because they said, okay, what do you want to do? So they would call me every single day and call me Pigeon. I don't know why they call me Pigeon. Like, hey, Pigeon. Great.
I nearly said something terrible that we might have had to have edited for the first time, but I didn't.
Okay.
I'll tell you afterwards.
I'll ask later.
I'll tell you afterwards.
I'm curious. But they used to call me and say, hey, what are we doing today? And I had to just come up with things, right? So they were supportive. But I think I kind of benefited from that pause, because we've seen the great impact that place already had for 1 month. And then we paused it. We had to regroup and reshuffle. And then when we open, we kind of open in phases, right? Because everyone else had, restrictions and whatnot. So we went little by little, but people were not giving us the chance to do little by little. They just wanted to come in. So it kind of exploded back again. So there was pressure, but there was a lot of support. So happy days. Okay. And they're still very happy.
Awesome. When you ended up where you are now, I keep saying it over and over again, but, in Atlantis, the Royal.
Yes.
Because the nature of your CV is that would have been the first real hotel. Like when I came here, went into Jumeirah, okay. the red tape, I was just like, wow, like I got in lots of trouble in the beginning because I didn't understand. I still operated in a super independent way, which was just do it,
yes.
And not realizing there's 10 forms and 100 signatures. How did you transition?
Yeah, I think for the Royal Atlantis was a lot easier than the previous two. Here in Media One, it was quite independent, right? You have Mark Lee, which is sharp. He's like, Mark, I want to do this. He goes, all right, go for it, So it's a lot easier in here. Then I went to W Hotel, and I did the opening for W, which I think it was harder than the Royal Atlantis. But no, I think I came in with my standalone mentality thinking, I'm going to teach these guys a thing or two. All right, slightly arrogant, I'm not going to lie. And then I was put into my place very quickly because I realized that actually they knew a lot that they were talking about, so I didn't have to teach anyone anything. If anything, it was like, wow, I didn't realize that. So it was a humbling experience, having to just listen sometimes, especially because I was the one in charge, coming from Masonic or all that.
Yeah.
I was the one that used to...
Because independent GMs are the king and the castle of their own worlds.
Correct.
Yeah.
But over there, no, it wasn't a hard transition, I must say. Just because of the pool and the talent of people that they have in there, it was very fluent, actually. So happy days. It wasn't. But the signatures is still annoying.
The signatures are annoying.
Yeah. All the email chains and whatnot. But it has to happen.
It has to happen because it took me a long time to understand that. But it's all about compliance.
Yes.
And it's all about audits and rightfully so. I'm not knocking it because you have an army, these are huge buildings.
We are actually Atlantis Dubai, right? Between the two properties, Atlantis the Palm and Atlantis the Royal, is Atlantis Dubai, as we call it, so ATD. There are 51 food and beverage venues. 51.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's a lot, so we have to follow step by step, and we're happy to do so. To be honest, there's no dramas around the area.
So, what are you most passionate about while you're there? Like, are you a foodie, cocktail, training, all of it, development? Or what is like? What do you look at as in this? Actually, I'd say a better way to frame that question is, in order to do what you do and where you do it, what do you think is like one of the number one things that you try to focus on every day?
People. To the most basic principle of, if you're not talking to your team, there's a lot of potential for errors. I'm not a foodie. Funny enough, I know I work in the food and beverage industry. I'm more the B, the beverage side, that's for sure. Yeah. Food, I appreciate. It's not my passion, that's for sure. But I understand that it is most people's passion, so you have to handle that. But people, I think, is certainly the most. It's the area that I like the most, and the projects, like new developments, that really excites me. We have a couple of new projects in the pipeline that I'm not supposed to say right now, so I'm going to keep it to myself. Perhaps the time that this goes live, the press release went out. But I think people, yeah.
So you could say it then, couldn't you? So why don't you say it?
I don't want to risk it.
I tell you what you could do. You could say it, and then you could tell me when to put this out. Because
no, I don't want to get in trouble. I'll just keep it to myself.
Well, if this comes out after the press releases come out. I'm looking forward to them. They look really nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
so once you do hear it, you know what it is about. It's really cool. It's really exciting. And that got given to me as well because it's a lifestyle project. It will be very high volume, very sexy. So I'm really excited for that one.
One question on it.
Okay.
Is it something that is going to stick out in the Atlantis kind of F&B landscape? I think a slight example might be like Wave House in the other Atlantis, oh, sorry, my watch is talking to me. Sorry, watch. Sorry. And I can't talk to them back. No, but so I think Wave House in Atlantis is just slightly more, I'd say, boombastic, for Atlantis. I was just wondering, is it something that's going to fit nicely in, or are they going a little bit left field?
No, it will certainly add to the pool of great concepts that we have. It is another brand partner, so it's not our own concept. It's a brand partner we were talking for a very long time, and they came here last year. We showed them around. They fell in love with us. We fell in love with them. So we're going to get together. Listen, Atlantis does one step without considering all the angles. So for sure, it's going to stamp the market, actually, because once we put the name out there, everyone's going to go, yes, finally, it's coming here. One of those brands
I feel like guessing. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not going to.
You can guess, but I cannot say it.
No, I'm not going to do it.
You know, some concepts that, many years ago, we all from Dubai used to look at New York or Miami, London, Paris, Italy, and we said, we really like this concept, would like to come in here. And I think now they are the ones coming to us going, can you take me? Can you take me in?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say it afterwards, and you can tell me if I'm right. Because there is one that is not here, But
it's not in the UAE.
It's not in the UAE yet. I've heard people talk about it going into different areas. And anyway, but
we'll talk later.
This will be boring for the 57 people on LinkedIn that might watch this. So listen, I mean, because the nature of this podcast is to try and get behind the people that actually do what they do, and you work in a massively, however many stars it wants to call it. So is it 5 stars? No, Burj Al Arab says it's a 7-star.
It's 5. There is no 7.
There is no 7.
It doesn't exist.
It's true. Yeah. There is no 7. But I love the fact it's a self-confessed 7.
No problem.
It's a gold wallpaper. Do you know what I mean?
They're great, so leave them.
When I reached out to you, you said to me, what are we going to talk about? Yeah. And I was like, what are you passionate about? And you went, cars, dogs, beer, and hospitality, which I think is hilarious, right? So what car do you drive?
I drive a muscle car. Okay. I love muscle cars. I drive a Dodge Charger. And I had to wait quite a little bit of time to get this particular car with the specifications that I have here in the country, because it was COVID. It was taking a lot of time to get the cars in the country. So I drive a Dodge Charger.
And what
V8,
are the V8?
Yeah, 5.7, 0 to 100 in 5 seconds or 6
seconds.
Is it
a Hellcat?
Yes. It's Hemi, yeah. They say it goes 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds. I don't know that. I couldn't possibly try it. I've got tiny little chicken arms. So, it is too much power sometimes. So I'm driving down Sheikh Zayed, and sometimes I want to go, okay, I'm going to go a little bit fast. And I put my foot down, not even that aggressive, and I go, that little, I love that feeling. It's so cool.
Why? What got you into muscle cars? Like
Dubai.
Okay.
Certainly Dubai.
Yeah.
I used to like cars. I actually quite like classic cars, like the old school ones. But when I moved to Dubai, I had a Ford Focus 1.6, which for me was like, oh, it's great. And very quickly I realized that was not a Dubai car, because you're driving down Sheikh Zayed Road in the fast lane and you're going, and it's just not going fast enough. And you have a bunch
Nissan
of
Patrol
flat,
right behind you.
or white Patrol, or white Nissan just flashing you back. So you have to move out of the way. So no, I think Dubai certainly got me into it. And I think I got a lot of people into it at work as well. Because when I joined Atlantis, it was me and one more guy from IT that had a muscle car. Only the two of us. So you look at the car park, and it was just the two of us. And now there's like 20 cars. Or 25 cars. And this is like waiters from Heston Blumenthal, a bartender from Haleo. And it's pretty cool because we, at the end of the night, we're finishing, we're all switching on our engines. We're like, bye now. And we all just in a car. It's so cool. I love it. We're not racing. We're not racing.
I think, yeah, you are. I think and I tell you what I think is just really cool about it is that you know, when you look at 5-star properties and you go in there, the service is so formal. Like when I dined in, I can't remember the name.
Where did you dine?
No, in Royal Atlantis.
Oh, in Milos.
Milos.
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
Sorry. So dined in Milos, and I remember, I think we were served by about 11 different people.
Yep.
Which I was quite amazed by the level of what's the right word, attention.
Yes.
You know, which I thought was very fitting for the place. It's so super formal. You know, everyone's so polite. You can build an assumption that everyone that works there is just, I wouldn't say boring,
okay.
but has got a stick placed somewhere on their body that is just making them all name badges and neat and tidy. And I just think the coolest thing is to find out that, you know, most of you got muscle cars.
Yeah, muscle cars, tattoos. Yeah. You know, some of them are musicians. You know, it is cool. I like that part. I have my Instagram. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is my I do such an influencer. Yeah. One follow me. One is my personal. And one is like work related. And I have a lot of my teams, my colleagues, my work peers following. And then I see what they get up to. And it's really cool. You know, ultimately we're all connected, right? We have tattoos. We like drinking. We like partying. We like discovering new places. Some of them are really talented. They do drawings. Others are, hairstylish. It's great. It's great to see that hospitality is what kept we bonded via hospitality, but we have so many other different talents or passions and things that we like to do.
Amazing.
In my case, it's muscle cars and shooting. I like shooting as well.
Oh, there you go. You didn't say that. Why didn't you say that at the beginning? We just spoke about shooting.
I know. Yeah, I like go shooting, and I found out there's a couple of other girls from work as well. They go shooting all the time. So now we're gonna create a little shooting female team. You can get involved.
That is awesome.
It's great.
Sorry, that is awesome.
It is great. Have you tried it?
When I lived in South Africa, I was taken.
Lived in South Africa?
Yeah, before we met.
Okay.
Long time ago, back in 2000. Funnily enough, there'll be a few people watching that's going to go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that again." And only they know what that's a little in joke. But the thing is that I was working in a bar, and if you owned your own business there, you were allowed to have a certain amount of guns. And if you were ex-army, which they were, you were allowed to have even more guns. And because I was from the UK and never shot a gun, he took me shooting about a week before I'd left to come back here with a boot full of guns. I've got photos of me with pump-action shotgun, Glocks, Magnum, everything. And we just went down to this piece of waste ground and were shooting. And that's when I discovered the difference between left-handed guns and right-handed guns. Because I'm left-handed. I pulled the trigger on a semi-automatic weapon, and the shell came out this way and hit me in the face.
It happens.
And they're very hot.
They're very hot.
And it burnt my face.
Well, I had a couple. Now I learned my trick, but I don't go with low crop tops anymore. It has to be slightly high.
And they're also very loud.
They are incredibly loud. Yeah. Incredibly loud. But I go often to Jebel Ali, the shooting range in there, and it's very cool. We should go together.
We should go shoot some things.
We should do a hospitality community. We go shooting.
A hospitality shooting community.
Yeah, is a great stress relief. It's cool.
That's happening. That's definitely going to happen.
Let's sign up.
Listen, this has been a great conversation, and thank you for coming on. I think the final thing I would like to sort of ask you is, if there's a assistant outlet manager now in a 4-star hotel in their outlet that wants to end up where you are, what's the one thing you would say to them?
Know your value. Learn who you are, and learn what stage of your career you are, because there's a lot of cool kids up and coming that want to reach the next position, but they don't know what is their worth, for good or for good and bad. Some of them are great already, and they're undervalued where they are, and others have to learn a bit more, which all of us are always striving to learn, right? But this came up recently in a conversation with somebody I was talking to, and this person is quite senior, having a hard time at work. And I said, look, I came across a video on Instagram about a bottle of water. And I don't know if you've heard this before. You know, a bottle of water in a supermarket will cost you $1. And the same bottle of water in a bar is $3. But if you go into a high-end restaurant, the same bottle is now $6. And the crazy thing is, if you go to the airport, the very same bottle of water will cost you $9. And the moral of the story is, know your worth, because one place will value you more than another. And that it's true, not just for your career, but for your personal life as well, right? It's not just about price tag, but really know your worth. Because sometimes you're in a place that you are undervalued, go and find somewhere else. And that doesn't mean to say, pop around your jobs. I think loyalty in the industry is very important. But sometimes you have to make that step, right? When you're not really you are being underlooked. But sometimes it's also the other way around, where you are being well compensated and trained and looked at. So know where you are, be happy with that. So for the next generation out there know your worth.
For the next Michele Jenman.
Oh, yeah. And Sam's.
And Sam's.
And Sam's. The next guys with the tattoos.
The next guys that just want to talk for a living. You know what I mean? That actually is much better at talking about work than actually doing it.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it helps.
I've made a career
But I said this to someone, and they actually resigned the very next day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was.
And have they gone on to do better?
Yes,
or
they have.
worse?
They have.
I think that's the thing that you needed to add to that.
They have. But my boss didn't mention, like, guys, this particular guy just resigned yesterday, and he was talking about a bottle of water, and I was just sliding in my chair going,
really?
Oh, no.
He actually used the water.
The absolute next day he resigned, but he's doing great, so I'm very happy for him.
So have you just inadvertently owned up that came from you?
No, never.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I hope this doesn't go to him.
No, this isn't going anywhere.
Nope.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Sam.
It's
Appreciate
been great. Yeah.
Thank you. Well done for doing this.
Let's go and shoot some people.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go and shoot at some cutouts of people.
Absolutely. You can bring a photo.
Is that today. Well, it won't be edited. Yeah, we're going to go shoot people. Right.
Just bring the photo. Thank you so much.
Love you loads,
Appreciate it.